Well, the markets are heating up, and then we had a couple things happen. Bybit apparently got hacked for over $1 billion worth of Ethereum. The markets have reacted accordingly. Also, some other global news that have shaken the stock markets. Will that trickle into crypto? We're going to share our outlook on more bullish news. Utah, I believe, will become the very first state to adopt a Bitcoin strategic reserve for their economy. I have their financials pulled up and how much money could potentially flow in to the Bitcoin ecosystem via the strategic reserve. We're going to talk a little bit about some altcoins, and we're also going to share some big news coming out of Coinbase that could have ripple effects, pun intended. You'll know what I mean in a second. We have that and much more on this Friday episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, home of the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency content where we take old, boring, stale information, repackage that whole thing up in a fun and entertaining way. Look.
Not a sexy way, huh?
Not today, no, not too sexy. But listen here. We were so close, man. I could taste it. We were at 99,000 and some change. We were right there, knocking on the door, $100,000.
You know, you mentioned...
And now back down.
You mentioned sexy. Speaking of sexy, what's up, Rocco? How you doing, man?
Yay.
Also, hi, Ashley. How are you? Hey. Ashley's hard at work. Very hard at work.
You're gonna announce
what?
names?
Are you gonna pimp me out again, or
we gotta pimp you out to read names?
Well, it was just a question. You've been pimping me out.
Yeah,
Friday,
probably.
So.
Yeah, we will.
Ash, it might be time for a tan.
I know.
Okay, maybe Jimmy will send you another TAM card.
Well, it's cold out. What do you want me to do? Lay out by the pool?
I believe there's inside tanning, potentially. There's spray tanning.
But spray tanning like makes you all orange and
you don't want to be like Donald Trump. Orange is the new.
Have you smelt the way you smell after a spray tan?
Well, I've never gone to spray tan, but I think my wife has once, and yes, it smells.
It doesn't smell good.
It doesn't smell good.
No.
That's why you got to wash it.
Yeah, but you smell even after you wash it off.
Fair enough.
I don't want to smell.
Anyways, I was trying to get my boy Rocco. What's up, man? How you doing?
This sounds terrible. Spray
tan?
No.
It's the new fad, bro. It's only $20 too, I heard.
No, but you just get the 10 and that's it, you know?
Yeah. You can get one at Walgreens.
Of course, your favorite place.
Guys, do we want to start with some good news or do we want to start with some bad news? I'll let you guys decide. Team meeting on the show. Good news, bad news. What are we doing first? Robin?
Bad.
Bad news, Ashley? Robin?
Bad news.
Bad news. Okay, we got some bad news to start the show off with.
Wow.
Sorry, Rocco. It was, no matter what you say, it would have been out.
It doesn't matter. I think there is no bad news. It
would have been outvoted.
I don't think there are any bad news, though. I'm not even there. Yeah, go ahead.
You don't think this is bad news?
Absolutely
I like
not.
Rocco style. This ain't bad news.
This is good news.
It's crypto normal.
That's it. It's true. That's very true.
Do I laugh or do I cry? Is that sad or is that exciting? I don't know.
Listen, it doesn't change anything. If you are here for the long haul, this doesn't change anything.
No,
yeah. Eddie texted me. He said,
man, Eddie ain't on Bybit, bro.
Eddie said, geez, can't catch a effing break in crypto. It's one thing after another. I was just like, yeah, that's crypto.
Hey, why you guys think they're looking like this? I'm only 22 years old.
Yeah. Shocker. Rocco's only 21. He just had his first drink.
That's it.
You know, I got to take a little bit of the blame. I don't often wear red. Today I wore red. I'm sorry, guys. It's my fault. I apologize. All right, all jokes aside, we woke up to some big news. Bybit, their cold wallet that holds all their ETH, was hacked due to a UI spoofing attack. Guys, we're talking over $1.2 billion. I've seen numbers such as 2 billion. I've seen numbers such as 1.4, but it is essentially all of their Ethereum. Okay, we have a little more in.
Not all of their Ethereum, about 70% of their Ethereum. I do have I do have
70%, 100%, you know, same thing, right?
Same thing, yeah. Here's the video of CEO Ben Zhao on the hack.
Clients asking what is the percentage of Ethereum that was stolen compared to all the EOM. I believe it was around 70%. We normally keep 60 to 70% in the cold wallet. and I believe this was the amount.
So they only keep. So it was the entirety of their cold wallet, right?
Yeah, they're all their cold wallet.
So we were both right.
So everything that was in storage is gone, and only what was on the exchange for liquidity is still there.
Yeah, this is pretty big. You know, I just did a quick Google search. How much AUM does Bybit have? And you're talking, that's a lot of money. $15.72 billion. Now, they have said that it is only the ETH wallet. Everything else is fine. We're back to 1-to-1. This is great. We're gonna.
They lost 10% of their assets under management.
That'll cripple it. That's a company crippling thing right there. It really is.
If it ends up being any larger than what has been announced, if it ends up being, let's just say hypothetically, they had an ETH wallet compromise, also maybe one of their 3 Bitcoin wallets, or I don't know, an XRP wallet. If there's any more than 1.4 billion, what's the total number? Was it
I've seen numbers between 1.1 and 1.4.
So if it ends up being any more than that, if they come out and have another press conference and say like, hey, we also had this, there's no way they can cover that, man. They're
a lot of money.
I mean, they're a big company, but you know, it's how much money do they have in cash or capital just sitting there liquid that they can put back in, right? And then on top of that, you have people freaking out getting their money off of Bybit. And so if you have any kind of, if you have money on Bybit, you're probably pulling it off. And so there's probably a run on the exchange. On top of that, they're putting money that I hope they have on hand. They said they're fine. They can cover it.
Well, also CZ's come out and said, hey, you know, we're there for Bybit. And so look, there's a difference between when someone like Sam Bankman-Fried completely frauds the market, but when it's a hack.
But also, CZ came out and said they were going to bail out FTX, and then
but that's the distinction I'm trying to draw here, right? There's a difference between that and you find out they were screwing people over versus an unfortunate event. They got hacked. They did nothing wrong. They got 1-to-1 reserves. There's no fraud happening.
Hold on.
I know where you're going right there. Say it.
Yeah,
everything in one wallet.
Bybit. I mean, nothing against Bybit, but you just broadly assume that they're 100% backed 1-to-1 and no fraud. Like, first of all, how do you get a hold of a multi-sig wallet? Yeah. How does that get hacked? You know, you got multiple people, so more than likely, if you got to have a 3 or 5 factor authentic or 3 or 5 different multi-sig wallets, those people are going to be people that are inside the company. So obviously there's some sort of fraud going on. Maybe it's isolated to a 1-person or 2-person event, but there's fraud in the company, right? There's no multi-sig wallets that doesn't involve company members. It's not like you got the CEO of Bank of America holding the other signature. And so there's fire at Bybit. There is absolute fire going on there. And so we're going to find out very quickly within the next 3 days.
What would you advise people? What would be
get your damn money off of it? Get off of there. 100%.
My advice would be
if you got like $1,000 you're just trading, okay, whatever, sure. But if you got any kind of like significant capital in Bybit, you need to exit this immediately. Just out of pure precaution. Just out of just sheer safety. And if the exchange is back 1-to-1, like you say, then at that point, it shouldn't be an issue, right? Right? If they got all the assets they said they do, there should be no issue with customers removing their funds. And then after the smoke settles, get back on.
You don't find it's a little bit fishy, the fact that have all the Ethereum in one single cold storage wallet, everything in one place. It doesn't sound right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
doesn't. I don't know.
It's
I'm looking through Twitter to try to find some updates. That's why I'm kind of staying quiet.
Yeah, it's so. I think what? It's still new. We're scanning for news, and so I don't want.
But let's say you
I don't
have
want
you have $100,000, or let's say $200,000. You're gonna keep everything in one place? I don't think so.
But
now you have $1
It
billion.
could have been more than one wallet, and so could have been they got a hold of a string of wallets.
I don't know.
And so I don't think he's come out and said came from one wallet address. I was looking for information. It sounds like it came from one wallet, which would be worrisome, right? If you put $1.4 billion or $1.1 billion worth of Ethereum on one wallet address, then that's pretty damn concerning. You figure you would separate that out into several, and then have. But here's the thing: if you did separate it, if you have a multi-sig wallet, you're probably going to keep the same signatures across all three, right? So if you had it on 3 or 5 wallets, more than likely you're going to have the same 3 people are going to authorize the movement of the cold storage. So maybe they had it in 5 wallets. They all got hit at the same time. I don't know. But maybe also you got to think about your layers of security. If you're going to have a multi-sig wallet and you're going to put it in 5 different wallets, then have completely different signatures for each one, or have a different combination. So if you have 3 people, like we have 3 people here. So we have 4 people in the room here, right? We got Ashley, we got Rocco, we got David, we got me. You're going to do a multi-sig wallet with 3 people. Maybe one of the wallets is David, Rob, and Ashley. Maybe one of the wallets is
That's
Ashley,
the whole idea.
Rocco,
So to
David.
prevent somebody to get at the wallet and drain it out. That's the whole idea. I don't know. It seems a little weird. I don't know really what.
Yeah, there's gonna be more. There's gonna be a lot more information to come out, and I always err on the side of caution. It sounds like this is just an isolated event. That's it. Sounds like they're back 1-to-1. It sounds like they got money to fill the hole, but we've heard that same song and dance over and over again.
Do they, Robin?
There you go.
You know, can you imagine if you're an FTX creditor, you got your money back and you decide to use it to trade and you put it on Bybit?
Oh, bro.
So fucked up.
No, but you gotta think, if you are trading, you keep the amount of money that you need for trading. Now, if you are just an investor and you keep money in your account,
maybe it's to us, maybe just anyone is $20,000. Maybe to them it's like, hey, that's what I do. I trade. It's my 20K.
Well, but the risks. I mean, they get to the point that that's the risk of trading. That's
just so you know, for spot exchanges, I know Bybit's associated with perps and futures. This is top currency by spot traffic. Number 2 is Bybit.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's definitely a big one.
Now, if you go to exchanges and you pull up number 1 for derivatives, it's Bybit 2, but the gap is significantly closer to Binance. OKX is right there on futures trading, but here in the United States, we don't really use Bybit to spot buy, and so for us, it's like a futures exchange, right? A trading exchange. But that's not the case globally, especially in Asia. And so number 2 here, largest exchange, Bybit, lost their Ethereum.
And then you take a look at this, Rob. You mentioned a bank run. This is posted by George from Cryptos R Us. According to DeFi Llama, total outflows so far, and this was posted about 30 minutes ago. Total outflows have reached over $2 billion. Said they are taking loans to cover withdrawals. We had this posted. Ben Zhu, again, the CEO of Bybit. Bybit is solvent even if this hack loss is not recovered. All of our clients' assets are 1-to-1. And then it's just kind of a reminder. I don't think this is an FTX thing. Could I be wrong? Yeah. But, remember, same.
I don't assume anything, bro. I don't assume a damn thing. I've been burned over and over again when it comes to exchanges, and I don't assume anything.
Let me ask you a very serious...
And they came out, they tweeted immediately, said, we have the money to cover it, and then you just show me, like, literally, we're taking out loans. And so I'm not assuming anything. I'm assuming they're lying. I'm assuming that they don't have the money.
Let me ask you...
$1.4 billion is a lot, man.
Let me ask you a very serious question. very serious question. If this ends up being some sort of fraud, hack, something, and
it is fraud.
Okay.
It is a hack.
If the company goes under, is this the type of thing that can end a bull market?
If it's no, absolutely not. If it's an isolated event, and that's the only thing that got lost, they'll be fine, right? They'll take out some loans, they'll move money around, they'll credit anybody that lost funds or whatever the case may be. They'll be fine. It'll take a while. It's gonna be a hit on the reputation, but they'll be fine. If there is more to this story than meets the eye, which it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, then at that point it gets concerning. And remember, you don't need a full liquidation meltdown for a company to go under, right? You could have CEOs bantering back and forth. You could have board members and this, and then you could have people pulling out. You could have lost trust in the exchange, which then all of a sudden people are going elsewhere. I'll tell you right now, I'm not putting any money on Bybit. Zero. Like, I'm not gonna put any money on there. And then how long am I gonna have that mentality? Minimum, I would say 6 months, man, maybe a year. And even then, unless there is a trading pair that I can't find elsewhere, then I guess I would try Bybit, but that would be after some time. And so I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough, man.
This is
definitely gonna hit them hard.
This is the Bybit head of derivatives and institutions when being asked how many users are affected by the 1.4 billion. This was his answer.
I think one question is how many users are affected. I mean, to be honest, right now, everyone is affected, right? I think, some of our retail, man,
I don't know. He looks nervous, bro.
I mean, to be honest, right now,
I'm not trying to make fun of his, I just.
It's $1.4 billion. It's not, I mean, he should be nervous.
Yeah. I mean, you go down the market cap list here.
Everything was starting to go back up too, man. Everything was starting to go back
I'm not
up.
even talking about that, but you look at the market cap of cryptos, only the top 50 projects are over $1.4 billion. And that means, that's a lot of damn money, man. Like, their full valuation, if you were to sell everything, which we can't, we know that the market cap isn't realistically the valuation of the whole network, because as you sell, the price goes down. So it's a lot of damn money, bro.
But let me ask you something. How you make it disappear $1.4 billion?
Well, here's the thing. Here's what some people have brought up, and I'm not a detective or an on-chain sleuth or an investigative. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm like, what's that one company? Chain analysis or chain analysis? Or, yeah. But if they swap to stables, you can have Bybit reach out to the stablecoin issuers, Tether, Circle, some of the other ones, and say, hey, if funds move from this wallet or if this amount or whatever, can you blacklist it? Sure. But there's mixers, there's other stuff. You can put it in a Bitcoin. I mean,
but is it that much? I mean, if they're going to do $100 million at a time or $10 million at a time, maybe. But,
even then, Rocco, those are big moves.
1.4
Unless you're doing like $100,000 at a time, which how long was that going to take you?
That's my point. How are they going to all this money?
So like, I know we hear large numbers thrown around all the time. So when you hear 1.4 billion, it doesn't sound like a lot.
It's a lot.
That is a exorbitant amount of money for a company to lose.
Also, if you think of it this way, if it happened to be, let's say it was North Korea, right? If it was North Korea that hacked it, which they have a track record of hacking.
Yeah, the Lazarus group. Yeah, they're from North Korea.
And so if it was them, then you can't take it back, right? There's no sanctions against what North Korea and the Lazarus group has acquired in crypto. It has not been returned from them, right? And so the only way that you'll get money back from that scenario would be to intercept the wallet after it left there, right? To get the secondary movement. But Lazarus can be like, hey, yeah, we got it. It's us. They can even take responsibility, and there's nothing you can do.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the U.S. won't step in because it's not Bybit. It's not a U.S. company.
And then you can just use, you can figure ways around tracing and tracking, especially. I would assume that the people that stole this amount of money, they probably didn't. They obviously didn't steal it with zero plan in place, right? As that at some point they're like, all right, go. And when that happened, they've already it's probably moved.
I think for the magnitude of the hack, I think there is a government for the magnitude, for the amount of money. I don't think this can be pulled by just a normal.
Well, you say that, but remember what was the weird rapper lady? They got.
No. What's up, man?
So that one was the.
What was her name again?
That was the. I forget. It was like
that's good. But you see how fast you forget?
Greg.
They didn't keep you to investing in crypto.
That crazy rapper chick from the is a Bitfinex, right?
Yeah.
Bitfinex hack lady.
So she stole billions of dollars as well. And they had it for, 6 years? And then...
Well, it is the market should be a little more mature. I don't think... I don't know.
Maybe blockchain technology is still a blockchain.
Yeah. Razzle Khan,
yeah.
But her name was Heather Morgan.
So, you know what?
I go by Razzle Khan.
Yeah, so the ETH network is still the ETH network. It's only become a little bit more efficient. There's no more security on there. It is what it is, right? There might be easier ways of tracking now, but the blockchain hasn't evolved much as far as being any fundamentally different than it did back in those days. So could have been somebody small. I mean, you never know. I'm assuming it's a large corporation, yeah. But it wouldn't surprise me if it was just 3 people, say 2 people that had some kind of connection with Bybit, and they got a hold of the multi-sig vulnerability. And it doesn't have to be the 3 people that signed it, right? It could have been the seed phrase or some kind of phishing link for each one of those people, right?
Back on the days when you see the movie, when they try to rob a bank, they go and get the director, the one that has the key. They only want to open the banks. I think in the future we're going to see movies that they're going to have, let's say, they're going to have the people, they're going to capture the people that have the different wallets, and they can put one, I don't know, and somehow.
So you're saying we're going to have a crypto movie, but instead of it being a bank heist, it's going to be a
pretty much
exchange heist. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's evolving, I guess.
My one piece of advice for the viewer watching is this. Do not try to assume something. Do not try to say, oh, it was just the ETH. Everything's going to bounce back. Let me put long orders in. This is something that we can get a new piece of information that can nuke the markets. I would stay away from trading at the time. Me personally, unless you have some insider info, I don't. He doesn't, unless you guys do and you haven't told me. I would be very careful. I'm not saying go panic sell your spot bags. But if you're a trader like I am, just put the pause. I had a chain link. I had a limit order on BNB. I canceled that. I also had a long order on Chainlink, which was up close to 35-40%, and it was on the way to hit that take profit target. But after I saw the news, that 35% came down to 20%. I just closed it. I closed it, and it was a good move because, again, as Rob mentioned, everything is down. And I closed it at around $18.40. Chainlink is at $17.41. And so that would be my piece of advice to you. Now, of course, it's your money. You do as you please. But some other news here on Bybit. Largest of all time ever, representing 16% of all previous crypto hacks. You have this as well. This was, I guess, kind of funny. The Bybit hacker only took ETH. Of all the coins out there, of course, it had to be Ethereum. We're cursed. Why didn't they take Solana? Thought you might find that funny, Robin. And this has some ripple effects across the board. Mantle, which I believe Bybit was leveraging, is an L2 on ETH. That has been absolutely destroyed. You know what? In fact, let me go to a mantle
You
chart.
think and I say it kind of comically, but also no, but with somewhat seriousness. You think that the people that stole it put in a short position on ETH before they did?
I mean, it makes sense, right? Why wouldn't you?
I mean, if I was going to steal $1.4 billion worth of ETH, better believe I'm going to put a short position on every single ETH, futures.
Bro, look at this daily candle.
That's a good way of figuring out who.
Oh my God,
who stole it? Who put in 100 shorts on 100 different exchanges on the morning of?
Robin,
That's how you figure out. That's how you figure it out. CoffeeZilla, give me a call. All right, look, we're gonna figure out who did this. Look at all the futures exchanges. Find out who the hell put in a short position this morning on multiple exchanges on ETH in whale size moves. I'm talking about like big wallets behind it. That's who did it.
That's elementary, Watson. Elementary.
Hey, man, you know what? Just hire me. Bybit, give me a call. I got you.
There we go.
So for mantle, look at this. This is why is the candle hollowed out? Because it was had a lot of liquidations in there, so it triggered the liquidation. And so that got crushed. And this is an L2 that is being leveraged by Bybit. You also have Athena, ENA. Their 1.2 billion USDE exposure to Bybit confirms off-chain custody with Copper, Clearloop, and less than 30 million at risk. So again, like Rob mentioned, where did they rank on spot exchanges, Robin? Number two. Number two.
It was a big gap. For spot exchange volume,
volume. It's based off volume or AUM?
Here, I'll just look it up. Right here. So when you go to exchanges, let me pull it up. Spot. So yeah, trading volume. Spot trading volume is 7 billion. You know what? This probably went up because of people offboarding. Because it was at 6 earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So either way, wait.
Scroll down, Robin. No. Click on that. Scroll down. That was interesting. Go down. Go to that pie chart. Token allocation. ETH was their third largest, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. So that's 7% of 15 billion, which is.
But then again, maybe this is updating in real time too. Maybe they've already
accounted. It was more.
Maybe they've accounted for it already.
Yeah. I mean, this is big, man. This is big. There's now, Rob said he doesn't think this is cycle ending big. I don't know. If there's massive fraud and
you know what,
the octopus.
I won't say it is cycle ending or bull market ending, but I will say
what ended the last cycle, Rob? Think about that.
It was an overexhaustion of the market, right? It was Fed had came in, you had gotten
everything was at the tippy top. Sentiment. Yeah, we're not there yet.
And so that's where I'm at. And so if we were at it now, if Bitcoin was at say $345,000 a Bitcoin,
greed was up like 90.
100, dude, this would be a whole different conversation.
I agree.
Now, could this be a setback? Could we come in here next week on Monday and we have news breaking, one after another? And in doing so, this ends up being an even bigger problem than it is. And then on top of that, people aren't getting their money back and people are freaking out. And they're like, hey, I lost all my money on Bybit. If that ends up being the case, then 2, 3, 4 months of correction. I think I truly believe that. But also, we are post-halving. We are in the earlier stages of a bull market. We still have more room to run. We got the U.S. being a buyer of Bitcoin. And you know what? It might actually line up as a perfect opportunity for the U.S. to get a good entry position on Bitcoin as first price. I'm not trying to be funny. I think if a month from now this thing plays out like you said, a month from now, say we're looking at an $87,000 Bitcoin, and the U.S. decides to be a buyer, then that was the pullback. Go down to 87,000, U.S. buys, we go back up to new all-time highs.
Yeah. One thing I'll say is, to his point, with where we're at in the market now, when Terra Luna happened, BTC went from 3,000 to 70,000. Terra Luna came crashing down and everything was dead. We are currently at 16 to 96,000. What is that percent? Like a 5x, right?
Yeah.
Bitcoin was at a 20x, 22x. And so I don't think we're at the top of the market and it's like, all right, well, we're already thinking the market is over and this just put the nail in the coffin. If anything, you have large institutions, countries, nation states, which was actually the thumbnail today, right? Utah becoming the first state to establish a Bitcoin reserve. They will look at this as an opportunity because you know why? What I always talk about is if it's only price and nothing fundamentally changes, it's a buying opportunity. That's exactly how these institutions, these whales, these countries, these governments, that's the way they're looking at this. If this does become a contagion effect across the markets, is you're going to get these large people with a crap load of money, more than all of us combined, that literally move markets that'll step in and buy. And so it's not something I'm too worried about. I think it's cycle ending. Could we see a pull back down? If this thing blows up, could we see a pullback down to mid 80s for Bitcoin? Yeah.
I want to know what you, the viewer, hi, how you doing? Got a question for you. Are you overly concerned about this? Is this big news? Are you fearful of where the market will go? If this is something that kind of got your blood pressure up, put a 1 in the chat. If you think this isn't that big a deal, you know what? Bybit, I don't trade on there. Not that big a deal. They're going to borrow money. They'll patch up the hole. We'll move on. Bull market is still here. U.S. is buying Bitcoin. Not that big a deal. Little road bump. Put a 2 in the chat. I want to know where you guys stand. We got about 400 viewers. Almost. But I want to see at least half of y'all participate. Put a 1 or 2. Let us know. I want to know where the chat lands. Also, why don't we get some love to the chat there, Ashley?
Chat.
You got any new people?
I do. I have Jamoon, Lana Parker, K, Mr. B, Kilgannon, Ryan Run, GHEK. What's with all these letters?
The alphabet.
It is. Louis V,
No,
Andy, and Vasim.
The letters are in the alphabet.
But they're different.
I know.
You gonna do the hola or what?
Oh, yeehaw.
She doesn't do a lot. She does yeehaw.
Thank you.
I noticed Nightbot had 2 emojis next to yeehaw.
You know what? Maybe they had too much Taco Bell. It's okay. No worries.
Okay. I feel like it's time to maybe share some comedic relief. Robin, have you seen the new product that Monster is launching? Monster, the energy drink company.
Yeah, the one that'll kill you.
Yeah, well, there's actually a new product, the Monster Ultra. So it's a 9-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, body wash, soap, lotion, pre-workout, protein, creatine, and testosterone boost.
Is this real?
This is not real. But let's pretend it's real. Robin, if I bought you one for Christmas, would you use it?
No.
Pre-workout, post-workout.
Like Christmas is going to be Aspire.
I've never liked any product that is multiple things in one. It never works well.
You don't use 3-in-1?
No.
I feel like you do.
You definitely do.
Or like 4-in-1? I don't know what the 4th one is, but
No.
you use the 4-in-1.
You don't use 3-in-1 body wash?
No.
Shot fires.
Oh, you don't
Shot
even take
fires.
showers, so it doesn't matter. And then we had another, unfortunately, bad piece of news. Hooters is filing bankruptcy.
Damn it. I had a...
But they're planning to buy Bitcoin.
Didn't we go to Hooters with Forrest when we went to Georgia?
We did, yeah.
Those wings were
Hooters,
good, man.
Hooters was a big thing back in Virginia.
They had big.
No, I actually got an interesting story.
Oh,
There we go.
Goody.
Story time.
Well,
Okay,
it's
Rocco,
been a
does the button still work?
moment. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
There we
Can
go.
we redo this?
It needs music.
Yeah.
I think the music might.
You used to have music.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We updated some stuff.
Back in the day.
There we go.
But back in the day, like I said,
yeah.
So Hooters was the place to go
When you
in
were in
Virginia,
homecoming.
right? I mean, it was it, man. You know what? If you
It
were
was
a
it.
young little pup, a little male, 20 plus years old,
Little male.
Little
in Virginia, you were at Hooters.
Virginia.
That's where all the hottest girls were. There
Patties.
was a lot of padding going on. And anyways,
Penny?
You know what? I had a girlfriend at the time, and she kept saying, she was like, "Hey, you know what?" She's like, "I'm gonna get a job at Hooters one day." She was aspiring to work at Hooters, right? She was like, "Yeah. When I turn 18, because I think we were, I think I was 19, she was 17, something like that. Anyways, she was like, "When I turn 18, I'm gonna go get a job at Hooters." I was like, "Yeah, okay, for sure." All
Wait,
right.
you were 17 or she was 17?
She was 17, I was 19.
Isn't that illegal?
No, it's not
Not in
illegal.
Virginia, no.
Oh, yeah.
Virginia, you
you
can
can date your cousin.
the gap could be like 5 years in Virginia. You know, they give you a little leeway.
Very strange.
But anyway,
right.
it's not my sister either. So,
Here's my second cousin. All right, it's not the same thing. All right.
Anyways.
I'll stop interrupting you.
so she, we end up breaking up. She gets a job at Hooters, like she said. I moved to Vegas. I go back to Vegas about 5 years later, right? And so now it's like, I'm almost 30.
You go back to Virginia 5 years later.
Yeah, I go to Virginia. I'm like 30 years old, something like that, give or take a year or two.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
How did you hit 30 from 5 years? Continue.
Yeah. So, anyways, I go back to Virginia. I'm there. I go to the St. Patty's Day parade, and then there's my ex, and I'm just like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" And then I was like, "What you up to?" And then she's all like, "Oh, nothing. You know, I'm working at Hooters," and I'm just like, "Still?" And I saw the like ghost look on her face. Like, well, I guess I probably said it kind of rude, and I realized that that's the strongest job in Virginia for a lot of.
So what are you trying to say? Virginia economy's going down?
What I'm saying is that, you know what?
Pray for
Dreams and
Virginia.
hopes are going to collapse because in Virginia, that's one of the strongest professions is working at
You know-
Hooters. So I don't know where the 17-year-olds are going to look to when it comes to career opportunities. That is now dried up. Perhaps get an early position on Bitcoin. You can make it, girls.
You know, I heard what the new hires Hooters was doing. It was the only thing, the floors were also, what was it?
They had all you can eat chicken wings at Hooters, and I ate 64. I don't remember 60 something
In a
chicken
row.
wings,
Like
and they're
7,
lightly
7.
breaded too. So that was an
Anyways,
amazing feat.
Anyway,
Sounds like
would,
the script from
would-
Adam
was it right?
Sandler movie. There was an Adam Sandler movie over there. He goes back to. I think this sounds really like the movie. You saw that? Adam
which-
Sandler.
no,
he has the
he's done
girlfriend
so
that
many-
works
he's
at
done
Hooters.
so many movies.
I don't like the Adam Sandler movie. I like his original ones, but ever since then, his Adam Sandler movie.
No, this is an old movie. It's still young.
Hmm.
The girlfriend works at Hooters with the old guy.
I know he went back to high school or back to school. That was
Back
what was
to
it,
high
Billy
school?
Madison?
Oh, Billy Madison.
Yeah, he went back to school, but
All right, let's share some. Let's perk you guys up here a little bit, guys. It's not all doom and gloom. Okay, Utah's Bitcoin reserve bill heads to second Senate reading, so it's already passed the House. It just passed the committee, which is the Revenue and Taxation Committee. All it's left to do is to get a vote in the Senate, and once it gets that vote, the governor signs it into bill, and it is Utah will become the first ever state to have a Bitcoin reserve. It is now headed to a second and third reading before a final Senate vote is made. It has already passed through the House, as mentioned. And so Spencer Cox, which is the governor, he would need to sign it, which important. He is a Republican governor. And well, not to get political, but a lot of the states that it's coming out of, they are Republican states. So let's take a look at their assets. What does their financial situation look like? Utah, cash and cash equivalents around, what is that, $141 billion? No. Yeah, $141 billion. Their pooled cash and investment, their investments in total are around, actually, this was 1.4 trillion. Their investments are 440 billion. I feel like my math is off. 14 billion, and the investments are 440 million. Okay. Sorry, I had to do, because this is in thousands, so I had to do the math in my head. So out of that, could we see a 1% allocation, a 5% allocation? We're talking about a lot of money here, and this isn't even the richest state in the country. And so, Rob, what are you expecting from this? What are your thoughts on Utah becoming? Do you think if they get approved, it'll just be a kind of a chain effect of other states?
I think the biggest takeaway, obviously outside of onboarding more people and getting, that's going to essentially move the price of Bitcoin up. That's kind of a no-brainer, right? I mean, you agree there's really no downside reason. There's no downside pressure on Bitcoin for something like this, right? So it's ultimately a bullish narrative. So we know we can speculate how big is that going to be. I don't know. It's bullish, right? It'd be good for Bitcoin. But the big takeaway for me is I think if you get Utah plus additional states having a Bitcoin reserve, but yet we have not seen one from the United States government, I think that puts added pressure onto the government, right? If they start seeing at the state level, hey, this state, this state, and this state is putting in a position, we know that Donald Trump campaigned on it, so it's not like it's outside of what he wants to do, right? If you were campaigning on legalizing weed and then all of a sudden, 10 states legalize weed at the beginning of your presidency, then it seems like a no-brainer to expedite that, right? Like, hey, look, like I campaigned on it
On a federal level.
Yeah, on a federal level. The states are already doing it. Let's get this thing done. And I'll remind you, we're only 1 month into, not even, it might be at a month now, but anyways, right around 4 weeks where Donald Trump has been in office. So still in the earliest stages of his presidency. So, he's already made a lot of strides, right? He's talked about crypto multiple times. He's launched a couple of meme coins. He's also been a buyer of ETH. It's interesting. And he's come out with several executive orders instructing different areas to promote crypto. And so I think if this passes plus one more, it can't be more than 3 months before the Bitcoin reserve starts, right? 3-4 months. Yeah. It's right around the corner. So I think that's it. It's a good signal for where we're going on the federal level.
Yeah, we're seeing outside of Bybit, I believe there is one more incident that is driving markets down. I mean, you look at Bitcoin on the 1 hour, we're seeing 3 out of the last 5 1-hour candles are large liquidation candles. You can see here they're hollowed out. And so let's just, every time frame outside the weekly is currently in the red. And let's take a look here at our support and resistance levels on the 1 hour for BTC. See where we can catch this falling knife. Now, when you have events like this, sometimes support and resistance levels aren't respected. So you got one down at 93.3, which I'm not saying it's going down there, but there's one down there. Now, remember, that was where we saw that massive wick, but we also saw a V-shaped recovery where we saw Bitcoin rally 7% in a matter of this was back on the 18th to the 21st, so 3 days. We pretty much got everything back and came back to retest, and now we're kind of spilling off. 95.3 is where the price of Bitcoin is, and I believe part of that outside of Bybit is this. Stocks puke after China reports new coronavirus with pandemic potential discovered in the same lab that the original pandemic came out of. You take a look at stocks, Dow Jones tumbled 800 points. 800 points. And let's actually go to the Dow Jones. Macro,
Maybe
Dow
it was
Jones.
a coordinated effort. Maybe they released the virus and hacked it at the same time, all the while putting in short positions.
I'm sure. Yeah, this was the Dow Jones.
That's a movie right there, guys.
That
is a movie. Put it.
That's it.
Make me the producer. I got you.
So we had a gap down on the open, and now the good news is these gaps. I don't want to say they always get filled. For the most part, they always get filled, and so you got a gap around between 43.8 and 44.1 on the Dow Jones, and so this, along with Bybit, kind of pushing the price of BTC down. But what I want you to pay attention to the strength Bitcoin shows on the way up. Because what I expect to see is something very similar, a V-shaped recovery. You go down the 1 hour, right? That V-shaped recovery we saw from that big dip down to 93.
Let me ask you, you say V-shaped recovery. If we don't get any more compounding bad news coming out of Bybit, how quick do you think that V-shaped recovery is?
If we don't get any more bad news,
nothing else expands, right? The Bybit news just is what it is, and it slowly starts to fade.
I think we're back up to 98K by Sunday morning.
Oh, you think it's only a couple days?
Yeah. Now, again, this one, though, but the good news is that we're heading into the weekend. So stocks will be closed, but that could also be a negative, too, because the only place, if we get some other news over the weekend of this, this report here, and, people decide to go risk off, there's only one market that's open on the weekends, which is crypto.
Man, this whole pandemic thing, man, they got us so good last time, man. All their mandates and closing and quarantine and the mask fiasco. If this is an actual pandemic, I'm screwed, bro. Because I'm not doing anything they tell me to do. And if it does actually kill people, and it is like an actual pandemic like you see in the movies, I'm screwed, bro.
Zombie.
I am screwed because I'm not doing a damn thing. They're like, hey, we're gonna need you. I learned my lesson last time.
Not up in here.
No,
not up in here.
No,
back in Virginia.
You will actually die this time. I don't care. I don't believe you.
Back to Virginia.
You did this. You did this. I don't trust you.
There we go.
Yeah, but if if all things play out and like Rob mentioned, Bybit isn't as bad as we think it is, or maybe people are assuming there's more.
I lean on the side that I think that we're gonna get more news and it's gonna be worse than we think. And I think that there's going to be some kind of, it's either fraud or absolute idiocracy on the Bybit team or security or whatever it is. But this story's not over. Not
good news today.
From my opinion, this story is not over. You don't lose that amount of money without there being more to the story. Put it that way. You said it was the biggest hack of all time
Ever.
as far as dollar amount, right?
Crypto, yeah.
Yeah, and every single one of those hacks before, there was a lot to the story, and a lot happened, and there's always some kind of, it was always the catalyst for something, right? Now, I don't think we're in the stage of the bull market where we're going to sell off and, invalidate the bull market, but it definitely is a massive correction in the market.
What it would be nice, to ask the Coinbase CEO how they custody their money over there. Where is their system? Because I know they're also custody money from other financial institutions. So where is that?
Well, there's a couple things, right? You could have the seed phrase, because you can do however many multi-sig you want. If you have the seed phrase, you can get into you can access the account, right? Realistically, the seed phrase is king, right? But to access the seed phrase is different, right? Or you can make the seed phrase anonymous. And so basically, you can put whatever layers of security you want on there, but if at the start the security isn't set right, then it is what it is. Like here's the thing, I can go buy a Trezor, but if somebody knows the seed phrase and sold it to me, I can do whatever. I can go put it in a safety deposit box. I can dig it under, I can put it under the earth. I can give it to, I can put it in a bomb shelter. That's cool. Nobody will touch it. Nobody will get it. But if somebody has a seed phrase, they can backdoor it out. And that's kind of what it sounded like, because they said their initial statement was at a Bybit was, hey, the funds appear to have been there. We didn't know, there was no compromise to the actual wallet, but we saw the funds move out of the wallet address. We saw the transaction,
wallet, yeah.
But we still had control of the wallet. So obviously something broke down on there outside of the normal security. And maybe that's something to do with ETH, right? Maybe there's something to think about here. Maybe if it had not been ETH, maybe there's other layer ones that would have provided layers of securities or would not have had loopholes for that compromise. And maybe we look at this maybe 2 months from now when everything kind of is transparent, and we say, hey, there's better security on other platforms. And so that might be something, right? That might be something that takes the price, right? I mean,
just was thinking,
hey, there's vulnerabilities.
Imagine if the same thing happened, I don't know, to Coinbase today. If it was Coinbase instead.
If that happened to Coinbase, Bitcoin would be at $80,000.
But Coinbase is also the custodial agent for the ETFs. 9 out of the 10.
Well, that's what
That's my
his
question.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the 9 out of the 10 original ETFs. Bybit, they custody.
It's all
for-
retail.
Yeah, it's all retail.
Okay.
And so I think it would have been a massive punch to confidence in the market if it would have been Coinbase. Because we look at Coinbase as the custodian, right?
Yeah, that's the
OTC
thing. What
provider.
they have in place that will ever prevent it, or is just they got lucky?
Well, I'm
I don't know.
assuming it's Coinbase, but I watched a documentary on cold storage security for the exchanges. In that video, they won't tell you who it is, but the assumption is that it's Coinbase, and they keep their cold storage in a bomb shelter with the elevator with armed security, can't be EMP blasted. And I'm assuming that they've probably thought of back doors that would attack a wallet prior to it getting to the 3-factor authentication. It's all assumption there. But also at the same time, for the security of Coinbase, they have also been very tight on how they custody, because a vulnerability point is transparency, right? And so if I say, hey, we're custodying $1 billion worth of gold, it's a lot more likely to get stolen if I tell you the address.
Yeah.
If I say, hey, I got $1 billion worth of gold, it's at this warehouse. Obviously, that's more of an issue. And so it's the same for Coinbase, right? It's the same for crypto. If people know where it is, like, then at that point, they know who has the multi-sigs, what names do they, because then you're like, hey, there's 3 multi-sigs on this wallet, subject A, B, and C. All you got to do is get their information, maybe get them, because we had with, what was it called? The Harmony One. Harmony One had a 3-factor authentication, a wallet that had their like treasury funds or whatever it was, their main allocation of tokens that got hacked. But what they did was they hacked the individuals that had the multi-sig through, like, I don't remember if it was phishing, but I believe it was. I don't know if it was SimSwap. I think it was phishing, where they had, they got multiple
Partial
people that had
information from all
multi-sigs.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your outlook here going into the weekend?
Don't have money on Bybit. That's number one. I think that's the most important. And be very cautious on trading.
I would just put a halt to trading. That's my opinion.
You know what? I got balls. I don't care.
My God.
Wow. Okay.
Honestly, man,
Wow.
Okay. Good luck to you, my
I
friend.
would lean more towards putting in a short. I made a lot of money on that last dip. That last dip, I made a ton of money. That V-shaped recovery you did, I made money on both sides. I also lost. I got liquidated 3 times, but my net profit 5x what I started. And I made money on the way down, made money on the way up. So if you feel comfortable with volatility, hey, you know what? You want to be a pro surfer? You want to stick to the small waves? Have at it. You want to go in a tsunami weather and ride the biggest wave out there and be a G like me?
There we
Do it, baby. Let's go.
Make sure you have life insurance. Dude Viper said, I wonder if this could stem from that Ledger executive getting kidnapped. Maybe they squeezed him for some info. Bybit did say they use Ledger for the hardware. That's an interesting perspective there, Dude Viper. I haven't read into it, so I'm not going to comment on it. But, I mean, you never know.
Good.
I think, but
I was just going to say, if you wanted to.
There is a good news today, right?
Yeah. We talk about the state.
Utah?
Yeah, Utah.
Also, the Coinbase.
also, the other piece of good news was
There you go.
this bald guy.
Brian here from Coinbase. Well, today's a really good day because we just heard from the SEC staff that they're planning to withdraw their litigation against Coinbase. Now, this still needs to be approved by the SEC commissioners, but we're hoping that happens next week. And if this goes through, it's a really big deal, not just for us, but for the whole crypto industry, the 50 million Americans who hold crypto, and I think for the rest of the world, because this is an important signal about where things are going. Now, ultimately, we still need to get legislation for crypto passed in America to codify some of these rules and make sure the industry can get built onshore. But if this goes through, it's still a very important legal precedent that rights a wrong that was taking place over the last few years, where the SEC unlawfully, in my view, decided to attack or even try to kill the entire crypto industry by suing lots of different companies, including us, claiming that many of these crypto assets were securities. Now, they did this despite there not being any law indicating that that was the case. They didn't publish any clear rules to the industry. And in our situation, they actually had allowed us to become a public company just a few years prior, where they looked at everything we were doing and our listing standards, and they got comfortable enough to allow us to become a public company. So we should not forget how close we came here to a few bad actors in the government actually going off and trying to kill this industry. I remember in 2023, a lot of people were advising me on this, and they were saying, do not engage in litigation with the SEC. It's going to cost you tens of millions of dollars. It's going to put downward pressure on your stock price. It's going to spook public market investors. And, number three, the SEC might fight dirty and pressure other companies not to work with you, which unfortunately did happen in a couple cases. But I think the thing that ultimately gave me the courage to do it was that, number one, I knew that we were right on the facts and on the law. Number two, if we didn't stand up to this bullying, it might have been the end of the crypto industry in America, because not as many other companies had deep pockets like we did. And ultimately, we had to spend about $50 million defending this case. And number three, we needed to stand up for our customers' rights. They weren't doing anything wrong, and they wanted to use this technology.
So there you have it. SEC pulls their lawsuit against Coinbase. And so I did an XRP video this morning, kind of highlighting what ripple effects this could have, pun intended, to XRP's case, to Ripple's case. And so that video drops later today. And so, but I would expect some volatility going into the weekend. My advice to you would be either lay off the trading, or if you're going to do it, if one piece of news comes out, there's going to be, whether good or bad, if you're going to short the market, good piece of news comes out, we've recovered all the funds, customer funds are safe, yada, yada, everything's going to start running back up.
Just want to add one more thing, because Brian Armstrong is right. They spend a lot of money, but let's don't forget that when XRP was delisted, they just turned the back and run. Then Ripple spent $120 million in a lawsuit, and then they're coming back now. They want to stand to the bully. I just want to add the point in case somebody from Coinbase is watching, because I want to make sure the XRP people don't forget.
Yeah, I think, they were obviously pressured to delist, whether or not they,
Just saying.
yeah.
Just saying.
No, I agree. Ashley, we got any new people there? What's going on?
We got Beach Bum, cool, thanks. Work Life, Smash Satoshi, Michael M, Timmy Tim, Blue Man Overcome, Wei Yang. I don't know. I'm bad with names.
Yeah, great.
Yeehaw.
There we go.
Yeehaw. I want to give a big thank you to today's channel sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how they can help your business scale and grow and go to new heights, visit bluewiretech.com. The link is in the description of this video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I know the markets are a little rocky right now, but hey, welcome to crypto, right? So this is not anything. Again, if you're panicking, take a step back, understand what is happening. It is unfortunate, of course. But again, I say this all the time, but it's very true. You look at your portfolio and nothing has changed fundamentally on your project. There is nothing to worry about. This will all pass, as everything does. So don't panic, don't worry. And we love you guys. I'll be doing my trading show at 5 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time today. And so make sure to catch me there. We'll be looking at some charts and what will the price action? Will we see a good buying opportunity? Maybe. Spot buying, trading. We'll talk about all that and more. So, with that being said, Rocco, thank you all so much. We hope you had a great week. Have an awesome weekend. I'll see you guys tonight. Make sure to watch our XRP video that drops in about 1 hour. We love you guys. Have a great week.
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you could tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors they gonna teach us. Mean coins, they polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin, and sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.